Hi guys, a lot of you have asked me to do a video on how to get started in property. So these are my top tips on what I think you should be doing to get started in property. First of all, set goals. You have to know what your long-term outcome is with this. Some of you literally just want 1 or 2 properties. You've got the deposit there, you're not getting anything in the banks, and you know exactly what you want to achieve. Fantastic. For you guys, I would say buy some books, listen to a few podcasts, just do a little bit of due diligence, which you can do quite easily on your own, and then just find an area where properties are fairly cheap and affordable, and start small and buy some cash flowing properties. So what I mean by that are properties that after all of the expenses, so your mortgage, your building insurance, ground rent, service charge if it's a flat, just be mindful with flats that a lot of the time the service charges are so high that they take a lot of your profit, and it's totally needless. So I would stay away from flats when the service charge is too high, so just be mindful of that. And then you've got letting agent fees. You've got, I would also recommend saving a small amount of your monthly rent in a savings account for anything like voids or maintenance, making sure that you can maintain the property to a nice standard, and your cash flow is what's left. And I would recommend for you guys to be purchasing properties right now that cash flow between £200 to £300 a month, and that's going to be giving you a really great return compared to what you're getting in the banks right now. So start small and buy for cash flow. Now, for those of you that actually want to do this on a bigger scale and you want to do something and build something like what I've done, I would give you different advice. So as you know, I started without any money. What I did, I basically spent any savings that I had, I invested into education, which sounds a bit crazy, and some of you will, be totally on board with that, and some of you won't get it at all, and that's fine, but it's worked for me. My mindset with this was basically, there's no point in me having savings for one house, because I wanted more than that. So instead I spent the money on getting a mentor and someone that could really help me, and some trainings, so that I understood what was available in property, and that I could really I just backed myself basically. Sometimes you have to just back yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself and you're not willing to put your own neck on the line, then no one else is. So I've always used angel investors, joint ventures, bridging loans, all different ways of creative ways of financing deals. And so that means that I've been able to do 30 plus deals since I started investing when I was 26. So for those of you that actually want to build something, large, and you want to be full-time in property and you want to become financially free, the first thing that I would say is, you don't have to invest your life savings in training. I'm not saying that, but I would definitely say it's a totally different mindset. You have to now become not the leader in your field, but you have to be an expert. And of course you're not going to start that way, but certainly you really need to educate yourself more than books, because a book isn't going to say, okay, you live in this part of the country and this is what's going to work for you here, and Brexit, and keep you up to date with what's going on. I would recommend being in an environment where you can ask questions, and I think that's going to be more beneficial. So really learning and understanding property and how to structure deals and how to find the best deals and all the different strategies involved. There's so much to it. I think people just have this idea that property is really easy and what can go wrong, you're buying a house, but actually in hindsight I realised that I'm kind of like a little bit of a mortgage broker. I understand now what mortgage is available, I am great at raising finance, I understand how much refurb should cost, I know what the streets are worth, and you sort of have to become quite good at lots of different skills to actually put a deal together from start to finish and understand what's available to you and what's going to work and how to protect your angel investors, and all of these things that come into play are really key and really important. So you can't really play at it if you want to build a sustainable, really successful business and have a good reputation, which to me is really important, making sure that I'm known as someone that does look after my angel investors, and I do treat builders well, and and I look after my tenants, and I've got really beautiful properties. All of that. It's, to me, it's a full. It's a real business. It's not just a case of buying a house. Anyone can buy a house. Anyone can buy 1 or 2 houses if they've got savings. There's very few people that can buy 20, 30 houses. It's a different kettle of fish altogether. So if you want to be in that 1% that is actually doing it as a real business, then you've got to be skillful. So do whatever you need to do to learn those skills. I would definitely recommend a mentor. So even now I've still got a mentor, and I will have a mentor when I'm a billionaire, quite simply because that's what really successful people do. They always have someone to keep them accountable, keep them in check, make sure their head's in the right space, because it's all about mindset. So I think that's really useful, is just having someone to check in with every single month, that makes sure that you're hitting your goals, that can help you when you're feeling maybe really emotional about something. They can look in with a totally clear head and no emotional attachment and say, no, you're being ridiculous about that, that's a great deal, or no, you're being too emotional, that's not a good deal, or whatever. Just someone with a real clear headspace that knows you, that's on your side and really backing you. I think that's vital, actually, because it can be really lonely in property if you just, it's you and you've got no one to bounce ideas off. It can be really, really lonely. So I find it so valuable to have somebody that I meet in every month, and I've got goals, and I love nothing more than going, smashed my goals, right, let's set some new ones. That's definitely the way I operate. So it's been, so useful for me to have a mentor. I would also say as well about network. Sounds cheesy, and as business people you hear it all the time. Build network, your network is your net worth. We hear all of these sayings, but actually the longer I'm in property, the more valuable I realise it is. Simply because we help each other, we inspire each other. I love nothing more than my friends smashing property, because then it makes me go, oh, that's amazing, have you heard what da-da-da's done, right, I'm going to do that. And we pass knowledge between ourselves, we source deals to each other. Like, it's amazing if you can create a community or join a community of property investors. That's really valuable, because it keeps you again on the right path, it keeps you motivated, and it expands your mindset to realise what's possible. Talking of networks, just be really careful about Facebook groups, because when I started property, I joined all these different Facebook groups, and half of them were really bloody horrible. They were horrible to each other, and you've got all these, these people on there saying, oh, property doesn't work anymore. Just really horrible, angry people. And I thought, oh God, that's no good. And while they're saying all this stuff about how property doesn't work and you can't get good deals, I was smashing out amazing deals, and I thought, these people don't know what they're talking about. So just be really careful what groups you're part of. If there's negativity going round, leave it, because they just don't know what they're talking about. It's absolute crap. So yeah, I left all those groups, because I was like, don't need your negativity. And half the stuff they were saying as well just wasn't true. So yeah, just be really, really mindful of that. What else would I say? If you're in a position where you want to build a big portfolio, and you've got funds but you just don't have time, maybe you're working in London, you've got an amazing job but it's really stressful, and you want to build a portfolio, but obviously property doesn't work in London because it's too much money for a buy to let. Leverage other people, leverage sourcing agents. So I've spoke about what a sourcing agent is before. A sourcing agent, so I source a few deals. I'm not a huge sourcing agent, but I'm regulated and I've got all the the right paperwork that I need. And the benefit of working with a sourcing agent would basically be you're leveraging all of their years of experience, their team, their knowledge, and you basically pay them a fee which is really small in comparison to what you're getting, and they'll basically find you a deal that suits your needs and then provide the full team. So you just basically do the paperwork, and it's a really quick way of building a portfolio, leveraging someone else's skills, which is a smart thing that entrepreneurs do. They leverage other people's skills, because you can't be in more than one place at one time. And if you've got a demanding job where you earn great money but you're very time poor, then that's quite a good way to go, is to leverage sourcing agents. And one more thing as well, I would say start small. Really, really important. I would not start with huge deals. I wouldn't start with expensive properties, because ultimately if you make a mistake and it's on a really expensive property, it's gonna hurt a lot more. If you make a mistake on a 50-60 grand house, it's not going to be as painful. So start small, start with buy to lets. So people are like, oh, it's so boring, but Oh, I'm just absolutely obsessed with buy-to-lets because they're a dream. I never hear a peep out of my buy-to-lets. They just work so well. Then you can start playing with the HMOs. I've had loads of HMOs. They're a bloody nightmare. They do my head in. And so yes, they're great for cash flow, but you're going to get more phone calls, more breakages, tenants moving in and out. That's the reality of it. So yeah, great for cash flow, but I would take a buy-to-let every day of the week. So I would say start small, start with buy-to-lets, then start playing with the more fancy pants deals like your serviced accommodation and your HMOs and your commercial. All of that is there and they're great opportunities, but a lot of people jump in and they don't realise the reality of property. And ultimately, if it was really easy, everyone would do it. You know, there's no quick fix to anything. It's a slow burner, but it's definitely worth doing. 100%, it's the best thing I've ever done. But don't underestimate what you're doing becoming a property investor. Treat it like a real business and treat it with the respect it deserves, and you will be very successful. If I can help with anything else, just drop me a little message. I hope that sort of covers a few bases, just to give you tickle your senses and give you an idea of sort of the different things that are possible. Yeah, if not, just send me a little message. Have a great day. Bye.